Hello all, welcome back to Consciousness Rising. As promised, this video is going to be on symbolic literacy, and now I have studied this, but I'm not, you know, I'm not as deep as some people go on this, and this really is just an intro video. I might revisit it in the future and maybe show some actual examples. I haven't really got examples in this video. It's more like just a very brief introduction to symbolic literacy, and that is actually a big part of the whole mind control thing. And I'm sure I must have mentioned it in my mind control series that actually symbolic literacy is something that's been lost to us, really, and most people don't have it. And I'll show you at the end some good ways to build it, because it's not. It's a different way of communication, really, and it's important to know because, as I'm going to show you in this video, just very briefly, it's used against us a lot. Because, as I say in my videos, my mind control videos, that there's only one conspiracy, right? There's only one, and that is that a few elitists, or we'll call them what you want, dark occultists, I like to call them, who have deep knowledge on human psychology and the laws of the universe, wield that against people. I'm trying to do the opposite and show you how things work through many years of research so you're immune to it. Because symbolic literacy, once you become more literal, once you become stronger with it and you learn how to read symbols, you start to see it everywhere. And again, like I say, I've always said, you can't be mind controlled if you know how it works. If you know the tricks of the trade, you're not going to fall prey to it. And that's why something like this is important, because symbols is just a huge thing. And yeah, I'll start sort of breaking this down. I don't think this will be a long video again, but it's just a real intro video. This is okay. Okay. You shalt not make for yourself a graven image. Okay, so even in the Bible, and I don't care if you read the Bible or not. Take from it what you will. I've done a religion video, haven't I? But they put a very much, they're very hot on this whole idea of not making graven image. Why is that? You know, I asked why, and I'll show you why. So it's in the Bible, and it's also on the Ten Commandments, which I've told you what the real morality is in natural law, but religion actually forbids using graven images and places its importance in the Ten Commandments above murder, theft, and adultery. Just think about that. So it's number two if you look in, those Ten Commandments that you're given in school or whatever. It's seen as that important that they've actually put it above murder, theft, and adultery. And there's a very good reason for this, because when you become symbolically literate, you're going to awaken a part of your brain that's been lost and shut down because of mind control. Remember, they don't want you to become whole. They want you fragmented. And it does go into the left brain and right brain model, which I've spoke about before in the past, okay? So I've put there, dark occultists have been attacking the psyche in order to weaken the right hemisphere of the brain. You can become imbalanced either way, which perhaps I'll explain in a future video, but I'm mainly focusing here on how they attack the right brain. Most people are way more dominant of their left brain. What we actually want is we want to meet in the middle, which is, as I said, I think in episode 1, the first video I ever did, I covered this. Most people today are more left-brained because of this, and therefore cannot see in what I call big picture mode, because the right brain is the brain that can see in bigger pictures, and it makes sense of what the left brain can't. The left brain's very analytical. The right brain is more intuitive. So actually, this also links to shutting down our intuition, which is it's our birthright. And intuition's like a muscle. It literally is something that you can strengthen by noticing. In fact, actually, I cover this in therapy. I talk about synchronizations with people a lot, because I've had clients that have had really strong ones, and when I talk about it, and I talk about it in a very Jungian style, right? They Because they become aware of it and they shift their awareness up, their consciousness gets stronger, and they start to notice these synchronicities everywhere. Again, this is very similar to symbolic literacy, but we're always given signs and symbols from the universe and the other dimensions, and this is why this video is important. And as I've put there, it is the right side of the brain that can read symbols on a deeper level, and it's also the right brain that is also the ancestral brain. Okay, so they don't want you to have all this wisdom from the past, from the elders and people that were more in touch with their spirituality than us, let's face it. They want to shut that down. That's why the school system is very left brain dominant. So this is a big topic, really. Okay. And what they prey on is what's missing inside us. They prey on, you know, our natural instincts and desires, but they twist them and they often pervert them. So, I've put there, media and advertisers in particular prey on our base natural instincts and desires. Yes, we have natural instincts and desires. Hunger, thirst, sex, they're all natural to us. Through subliminal messages, which are encoded into movies, TV programs, magazines, and video games. Now, this is why I don't agree with shutting off the TV. I do not agree with it. I agree that actually you should watch it as a study from a distance and actually learn from it, because then you'll start to see how this is being used against you. Okay? And yeah, anyone that says that, I just don't agree with them at all. Literally don't agree with them. Anyone that says that. And they encode these subliminal messages in all our entertainment. Having said that, it can be used for good as well. There are good and bad in all of this. It's not. You have to just you have to watch these movies with a different mind. And once you start becoming symbolically literate, especially for me with the tarot, talking on a personal level, the more I got into tarot, the more I understood about tarot and indeed the tarot's numerology, because they kind of go hand in hand. As I've said, they're not meant to be sort of learned separately, really. The more you sort of become symbolically literate like that, you start to see archetypes. Now, that's a Jungian idea, and that, once I started to learn about archetypes, that changed the way I view all media. Having said that, just going back into TV, I don't actually pay a TV license. I don't believe in any of that shit. I don't watch the news. I don't watch the mainstream at all. I do have to say I have got my own limits, but I do watch movies. I'm very interested in film as an art form as well. And my next video after this one is going to be a scene. I'm going to start breaking down scenes in movies, or perhaps a whole movie, to break down certain psychological concepts that are being shown to you. Okay. So yeah, that's just my thought on that. Bernard McGrave, PhD, says advertising is designed to generate a sense of inner conflict with the self. That's really important because, like I say, they want you fragmented. They want society fragmented, yes, and that's why I don't agree with joining any crowds or groups, because that, it's a fallacy anyway. But more importantly than that, they want your psyche fractured, and learning how to read symbols can repair that damage. That's actually psychic hygiene, and the tarot is a beautiful tool for that. There's others as well, but yeah, there you go. Advertising is designed to do this to you. Okay, how the unconscious mind reads images. Research has shown that in the first few milliseconds of our perceiving something, we do not only unconsciously comprehend what it is, but decide whether we like it or not. The cognitive unconscious presents our awareness with not just the identity of what we see, but an opinion about it. Okay, so I just have to say, before I read the rest of the quote, this all happens so quick, it's like a flash. Okay, and they know this. See, so you see how easy it is to manipulate it. People want because they know how the mind works. They know how the unconscious mind works. But yeah, and he also goes on to say, our emotions have a mind of their own, one which can hold views quite independent of our rational mind. Now, that's important. Our emotions do have, their energy in motion, right? So consciously, And this comes up a lot in EFT work actually. Like when you're working on a fear with people, they'll consciously say, I know this is ridiculous that I fear this thing. And I don't know, it could be anything, let's just say. But they'll often say that, clients will say that. I know I shouldn't be fearing of this, but I can't help it. Because their emotions have a mind of their own, and this all links into the way their subconscious works. It's automatic, you don't have as much control over it as you think you do. You can gain the control, and that's why doing things like tarot is important. Um, but yeah, he's nailed it there. This is something that happens very, very quickly in the mind. Now, that just thinking about that, think how many blooming TV programs and how much TV children are consuming. It's really worrying to me how many video games they play, because they're at a level, and if they're, I mean, certainly if they're before 7 years old, they're they're sat in front of a TV, maybe watching violent things that they shouldn't, because this does happen with children a lot, and that's going into their subconscious, doing damage, skewing their worldview. You know, so yeah, that's an important piece of knowledge there. Signs and symbols control the world, not phases and laws. Confucius. He knew. He knew how important it was, how important signs and symbols were. This is ancient. This is very ancient. And that goes on to my next slide. Symbols always were the mode of communication of our ancestors. So deep, deep, deep down, you will find hieroglyphics. You will find you. If you look into the ancient past, there's symbols everywhere. They communicate through symbols. Um, so this is something that's. Do you see what I said at the beginning? This is something that's been lost to us, and I believe it's really healthy to try and regain it through doing things like tarot. I know I talk about tarot a lot, but tarot, because it's so ancient and the way it works and Jung approaches the archetypes. The archetypes are what Jung actually said the archetypes were. They're the DNA of us, of our consciousness. So just like you have DNA of your body, he said the archetypes are like the DNA of our consciousness. So that's how important they are. They're very ancient. The invention of writing and language actually weakened our ability to understand symbols and evidently the right side of our brain. So again, that's where it started. Obviously, it's been heightened through the mind control techniques they use, like the advertising and things like that. But yeah, that's kind of like where it started, really. The invention of language and writing. That kind of like that uses the left brain. This scumbag says this: I think we are destroying the minds of America, and that has been one of my lifelong ambitions. Out of the words of the guy that's selling your kids cartoons. That cartoon, Ren and Stimpy it's called. I remember that being on the telly when I was younger and thinking, what a shit show that is. It's weird, and it gave me such a strange feeling, like something didn't feel right to me. I believe my intuition was going, there's something very wrong with that show. Now, go and look that up. Maybe look that show up, and it is just vile. It's I can't even describe how awful it is. But there you go. That guy creates that TV show, and he's selling that to kids. And look what he said there. He wants to destroy the minds of America. Yeah, good luck destroying mine. Ain't gonna happen. And this is my last slide. So these are the ways. These are the keys out. These are the keys out. This is how you strengthen your ancestral mind, your right brain. You learn, and what they are is they are the ancient divination arts. Apart from the bottom left one, I'll talk about that in a minute. But so the top left is numerology. The middle, Kabbalah. I love Kabbalah. I've got some really good books on Kabbalah. Um, Again, learn these ancient techniques because this has all been lost to us. And this can really strengthen your sort of psychic hygiene, as I say. Top right, my weakest personally, astrology. I understand its importance, but I'm personally quite weak in the area of astrology. I'm much more stronger with numerology, Kabbalah, and tarot and how they fit together. However, I respect astrology a lot. And yeah, bottom right, my favourite modality of all of four of those is the tarot. I absolutely adore the tarot. There's so much, and if you sort of, even if you just got a tarot deck and approached it in a very playful way, because you don't have to be so serious about everything, and you just maybe a good thing to do would maybe get a deck, shuffle it, and maybe pick one card in the morning, one card in the evening. Don't look at the books. Don't look up the meanings. See what you feel. See how it speaks to your right brain. See how your right brain interprets it, because the right brain is an interpreter, you know. And I mean, I can look at a card one day and it will mean something different than another day. The tarot works like that. And also if you're doing spreads, but I wouldn't even start with spreads. I would actually start with just studying the cards. And a good way to do that is maybe like, yeah, two a day, or even one a day. One a day would do, until you've done them all, and then maybe keep a diary. And that's what a lot of people do. They keep a diary and they write about their thoughts and feelings about each card. And the bottom left is actually from, I think it's from the book. I think it's from the Archetypes of the Collective Unconscious, which is a must-read. You want to, you want to go deep into psychology. I don't think there's anyone quite better than Jung, especially because his work is so eclectic and it goes all over the place. And some people find that the reason for that, the reason that he's all over the place makes it quite hard to read, which he is hard to read, but the concepts are fascinating. I highly recommend that book, the Archetypes and the Collective Unconscious. But that is a representation of a mandala, and I think if I'm right, I might be wrong. What he would do is, as someone was going through the process of therapy and doing shadow work, basically, because that's what therapy is. Good therapy, it's doing shadow work. Um, it he kind of tracked the therapy, like the client would often track their own therapy, and Jung would as well, by painting mandalas. That's a mandala. They're always circular, but it would track what he calls the path of individuation, which actually I'm going to talk about soon in another future video. I've got a video planned on crowd consciousness and the path of individuation, because I think that's a really important concept, because Jung saw individuation as like the end goal of therapy. Once you individuate from the crowd and the masses and the noise and the crap, you become an individual. Um, and that's what I believe. I'm all for that. So yeah, that's it for today. Relatively quick. Just a sort of a dip into the world of symbolic literacy and how important it is and how it's used against us. And I might revisit it one day. I didn't give any sort of pure examples of like ways that it's used against you, but it's easy to find. If you want to find it a really easy way, look into the Disney world and the subliminal messages in Disney films, because it's riddled with it. Anyway, that's all for now, guys. Take care. See you in the next one.